All right, today we're diving deep into the mind and music of the artist Carnage. We're going to map out his journey, which is this incredible path from the chaos of a mind totally at war with itself, all the way to finding a really clear and powerful artistic purpose. It's a story about turning pain into power and chaos into art. And this line right here, it tells you pretty much everything you need to know. For Carnage, making music isn't some choice he makes, it's an absolute necessity. It's the very breath he has to take to keep the void at bay. It's a rhythm that is literally cheating death.
So to really get this, let's start by stepping into his internal world, a place that's just defined by this deep, constant conflict.
He puts it so simply, split mind. Now this isn't just about feeling a little conflicted every now and then. We're talking about a fundamental, constant state of being fractured. Just try to imagine your own mind being pulled in two totally opposite directions, not just for a moment, but as your default reality.
And get this, he even uses the clinical term schizophrenic as a way to describe his art. He's not just rapping, he's channeling this chaotic, multi-sided internal conversation, and he's almost forcing us, the listener, to feel that same disorienting energy right along with him.
And here's where you see those clashing parts of him in action. You've got this raw ego, this bravado, but it's always laced with this charismatic pull. These aren't just mood swings. These are like distinct personalities constantly fighting for the driver's seat.
So you gotta ask, right? Where did all this internal war even start? To really understand the art, we have to go back and confront where the pain came from. And, well, it's a darkness that took root very, very early on.
With just gut-wrenching honesty, he reveals the very foundation of his trauma. This is a wound that was inflicted before he even had the words to understand what was happening, a deep violation that would go on to shape everything that came after.
And the thing is, that initial trauma wasn't a one-time thing. It was just the start of this relentless series of blows. A father who wasn't there, a profound sense of loneliness, and just this chronic instability where things would come and go. And when he finally reached out for help, the system's answer wasn't healing. It was medication that just turned into its own kind of prison.
So this brings up this huge, crucial question. When you're standing in the middle of all that wreckage, how do you build anything? How does that much pain become a source of strength instead of just the end of the story?
And this is where the alchemy begins. This is that moment where all those raw, painful pieces of his past are thrown into the fire of creation and forged into something brand new, a tool for survival.
You can see the two sides of his reality so clearly here. First, there's the burden, that feeling of a giant fought inside his chest, this constant crushing weight. And then, the release, the powerful realization that his words, his voice, could be a permanent anchor in the middle of all that chaos. You know, he basically describes his creative process like it's a life support system. It's as elemental as breathing. You inhale a beat, you find a moment of peace in the storm, and then you write, creating something that will last forever.
So he's faced the darkness, he's forged his art into a weapon. So what now? What does he build from all that wreckage? Well, he constructs an entirely new way of seeing the world, a personal philosophy built right from the ashes.
What's really interesting is he just completely sidesteps organized religion. For him, the divine isn't something you find in a church or in some ancient book. No, the ultimate power, the creator, the source of any salvation, it's all found right inside himself.
And you can see his new creed laid out right here. It's this radical call for self-belief. He sees himself, and people like him, not as victims or sinners, but as fallen angels. And those broken wings, they're not a weakness. They actually give you a unique perspective, a different angle on the world that people who've never been broken just can't see.
But this whole journey, this intense self-realization, it doesn't just stay inside him. It becomes the driving mission behind his music, to be a guide for anyone else who feels lost in their own darkness.
Wow, I mean, what a powerful image for your life's purpose. All that pressure, all that pain, all that time buried in the dark, it's been compressed into a source of energy. He's offering up his own trauma as a literal fossil fuel for anyone else out there who feels lost and is starving for a voice that gets it.
And this, right here, this is the core of his entire message. Real strength isn't found by chasing the light or pretending the dark isn't there. It's found by standing right in the middle of it when everything goes black and becoming the light yourself.
And so he leaves us with this challenge. He's laid his entire journey bare, from trauma to transcendence. And now he turns the question back on us. If you are your world, and he is his circumstance, based on your own life, your own circumstances, what song are you writing?